But yes, I think we'd all like to hear more from Scott Harris in what I deem to be a fairer engagement, meaning go on with our morning show. I don't care. Despise me all you like. I don't give a damn. I don't need you on this show. But John and Jim are very nice people. Doug and Scott are lovely people.
You know what? Just wait till you go on vacation. I'll do it.
That's fine. Because you'll ask the same damn questions.
Yeah.
The point I'm making is what we were going to start with was different than this, but we'll do both now. And I'm going to get to these phone calls in a second. But last night, the Tigers, it was the first, 1-3-5 triple play or whatever the hell it was in 100 years. It's unspeakable. And everyone, you can see the video. It doesn't matter the team's not on television. You can see the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Major League Baseball. It's not Major League base running. I'm not trying to vilify Zach McKinstry, but bottom line, I don't care if it's an all-star or a guy who's probably not a Major League Baseball player. It's unacceptable. And I'm not going to read too much into a wry smile. I'm not going to sit here act and tell you that Zach McKinstry doesn't take his job serious. That wouldn't be fair to Zach McKinstry. I'm making a point to you that whether it's Javi getting picked off second, butchery in the outfield, whether it is a situation like last night, whether it's not touching first base, this team doesn't play high-level baseball. They don't play fundamental baseball. And the further we go, I'm going to admit bias to you, right? I'm massively frustrated with this baseball team. I'm angry. And I'm openly telling you, I've probably just reached a phase where I want someone fired just so I can feel pleasure, so I can feel like someone's held accountable for all this losing and the frustration, admitting it, not proud of it, but admitting it. The point I'm making to you is, at what point do we have a conversation about AJ Hinch being the manager of this team, and what is he exactly teaching? We have 3 hitting coaches, one of whom has their first professional job, and this team can't hit. Well, do I get to talk about Hinch for that? It's his staff.
Right.
This team is abhorrent defensively. Do we get to talk about AJ Hinch there? That's before we get to some of the pitching and bullpen usage, which has been spotty. Rico, is it wrong of me that that triple play encapsulates a lot of my frustration is if you can't hit, but you do play great defense, or you run when you hit, or you have power, don't hit much, but hit for power. Yeah. They don't do anything well.
Let me clarify that, Mike. When you are not a good team, you have to do all the little things great to steal games. You can't shoot yourself in the foot and help a team like the Phillies beat you, as they're sitting there saying, did he really take off from third base? My God, no wonder this team is so bad. Throw the ball to third, triple play. Let's just go ahead and get out the inning. You have to know it reminded me of the time when Javi Baez early in the year, and he took off running, and it was wait, the ball's hit the third. What did you think was
extra innings? You're on second base. You can't be doubled off second base. Period.
What were you thinking? But yeah, it's the little things that they just keep doing, and it's okay to make a mistake. But when you keep seeing the same mistake over and over again, it tells me that your players and your managers are not learning and they're not correcting them. So that's where it becomes problematic, because yes, everybody screws up. But when you see base running mistakes like that, you're like, that's a little league type of thing. David, you coach your son's little league, and hey, everybody, how many outs is it? I mean, do you literally need to start yelling that to your professional ball players?
So once again, let's bring it back to the question I asked. At what point do you get to talk about AJ Hinch? Look, I've got a blind spot with Hinch. I do think he's a good manager. I do think it was a good hire by this team. But I'm starting to kind of, and I admit my bias, right? I'm frustrated. I'm emotional, lashing out, whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of getting to a point where I really don't care if he'd be hired in 20 minutes somewhere else. I'm kind of like, what are we doing here? What do we have quality at bats? No, we don't. Do we play great defense? No, we don't. Are we managing a pristine game where we're not doing some confusing things? No. And I'm not going to nerd out on that because, let's face it, a majority of people aren't watching the games. I just wonder, okay, we've talked about Chris Ilitch. We've talked about Scott Harris. When do we talk about AJ where it's like, if they're not playing fundamental baseball, isn't that the manager's job?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you wonder, is he starting to just space out a little bit? And maybe he's starting to feel that frustration, whatever. You got out? Okay. You know what? Next inning.
248-539-9797. Caller, sit tight for 1 second. I am coming to you. But David, ticket text first. What do people have to say? Either topic.
It's pathetic that this team doesn't have an area that they can hang their hat on. Bad in the field, terrible base running, can't hit, score runs, pitching staff has descended to average territory as well. Someone says, I don't disagree, but if there's an admission of fault from Scott Harris, he's putting his own job at risk. That is A and Auburn Hills.
But see, A and Auburn Hills, I would say this. It's not putting your own job at risk when we all can see the mistake. It's not like you're giving us this deep, dark secret that nobody knew about. We all see everything that's happening. So by admitting it, I'm actually going to respect you a little bit more, that you're not going to sit here and gaslight us and say, no, what problem? We're fine.
Well, the issue I do take, you played a clip of the interview he did with Benetti and Dickerson, and it's always this thing with the Tigers. They want to hold up one player. Right earlier in the year, it was like, oh, Veerling's hitting. What do you have to say now? Well, now it's, Riley's a good player. And? So one guy looks like he's pretty good, and that's, we have to, young players have to go through it. Right, that's why if you bring in veteran bats to insulate them, you help their journey. Mm-hmm. Versus Jurassic Park, great movie. The yak being lowered in the Velociraptor pit. That's kind of what Major League Baseball is. It's really hard. Round ball, round bat. It's hard. And when you don't have veterans and you don't have really good offensive players to help your young players, oftentimes you fail big time. Mm-hmm. I don't understand it. David, go ahead.
Cavalier management creates a lazy work environment. Simple. Back to the Ivy Leagues you go, AJ. The person said, where was the third base coach telling McKinstry to get back? Everyone is bad. Everyone's at fault.
No, and again, I'm not trying to single anyone out, but it's a conversation I think you can have, which is, okay, I don't view a manager like I do like a Juan Soto. Juan Soto could be a 10-WAR player at the end of the year, and you go directly, this guy is helping us win an additional X amount of games. Managers' jobs, don't hurt me, steal a couple of games, put your guys in the best position to succeed at all times. And really, it's about managing a standard. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. A lot of being a manager's ego management. You got a lot of egos in that clubhouse. So I just wonder, why is AJ exempt from the criticism? It's not going well. I don't know. Look, yes, Colt Keith is developing offensively. Defensively, he cannot stay at second base. Can't happen. Who's in charge of that?
The reason why I think it seems like he's exempt from criticism, Mike, the old saying, when you're being chased by a grizzly bear, you don't have to be the fastest, just don't be the slowest. He's faster than Illich. He's faster than Scott Harris.
Great way to put it.
So therefore, he's eluding all of our criticism because he's just a little bit faster than those two.
I want to get to the people. A lot of people want to talk about it. We can. We've got a lot of NBA draft to talk about. Rico and I just have we see the world in a completely different way, and I don't know that either of us is wrong, but it's going to be a conversation you guys have to decide. We're going to get to that later today as well. 97.1. Rico.